Hello, everyone. Hello, Helen,
Hello.
and welcome to episode 8. Episode 8 is a special one because we have somebody very well known in our community. We have our Helen. So most people know our Helen. Whether you've been in our schools or whether you have not been in our schools, you've either met her in person or you've seen her everywhere online. But Helen has been with us for many years, and she is known as one of our key teachers and our assistant manager. But today, those who don't know are going to find out that Helen also has other talents, which is Helen is also an artist. A lot of people do know that, I think, Helen, right? A lot of people know that.
Well, hopefully.
Hopefully. But for those who don't, yes, it's a nice surprise to find that you have many other talents. So today we are talking about the power of creativity in the early years. But before we get started, as always, I am going to let you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about yourself. Tell us what you want us to know about yourself before we get stuck into the conversation and have a chat.
Okay, so my name is Helen. And I am a key teacher at Roots Preschool.
Yeah.
It's fun, is it? And then I am also a Cypriot artist. And one thing that I am trying to do through my years of teaching and getting experience is that I would like children to get to know they can do art without having any artistic experience, or they have to do everything, picture perfect. They can do activities for their emotional development. They can do activities for their expression, and it can be something like really simple for them to get their self and show to the world that this is who I am, and this is how I would like to express myself.
Yeah. So you did you have this idea? Which came first? So it's the question of the chicken or the egg. Did you have this idea of creativity in the early years before you got into early years? Did you get into early years and then you discovered this passion that you have for creativity in the early years? Which one came first for you?
So actually, that's a funny story. That I am a mother as well. So my child was going through these phases that we're saying for children to regulate their emotional impulses and how to express themselves. So for me as an artist, I thought, well, I am expressing myself through my art. So maybe this is a way for me to teach my child how to express herself. And then when I came to a school and I met other children that they were going through similar phases, because it's known that most children are going through these phases, and this is a way for them to understand that, oh, this is like a very nice opportunity for me to do something creative and chill out.
Mm-hmm. So I want to start by defining creativity before talking about anything else. And the reason I want you to define creativity for us is because I think every person has a different idea of what the word creativity means. And I, for one, I think it's very well known that I'm not the most creative person when it comes to art. It's just a fact. I'm not an artistic person, but I'm creative in terms of ideas. so there's different modes of creativity, and the one that we're focusing on now in this, for the purpose of this episode, is the arts.
Yes.
Creativity is a different, everyone has a different image of it. So I want you personally to define creativity, Russ, so that we can put the rest of the conversation, for anyone who's listening, whether it be a parent or an educator, they can put the rest of the conversation into context.
Yeah. So what I would say, that I'm going to start with what is art, because art is an expression of our thoughts, our emotions, our desires. Is a way to is a way of expression, a way of joy, a way of making people understand what we want to say, or things that we that we don't want to do verbally, that they cannot be done verbally. And because words alone are not enough, we must find another way of expressing and say it through our creativity. So when we go back to creativity, is that it can be through any type of form of expressive, creative expression. So it could be through music, drama, it can be through art. The artistic part takes everything, because you need art to create your own instruments for music. You can take art to create your own props for theater. So in any kind of expression you are choosing, you're going to need art. This can take up to mathematics as well. It can take up to literacy. So creativity is a form of expression, in simple words.
Okay. And so you've mentioned a few benefits that you feel a child, a person, I think, anyone can gain from engaging in creative activities at a young age. You've mentioned about the being able to express themselves in a different way other than verbally, which, I mean, it's understandable how that's a benefit. What other benefits do you feel exist when somebody is able to engage in creative activities at a young age?
Mm-hmm. So expression is one of it. Art provides children with the means to express themselves freely and creatively. And through art, they can communicate their thoughts, their feelings, experiences, and this can benefit as well children that they're under the age of 2, where they're not very verbal yet, so they haven't developed the strong verbal skills. So creativity comes in for them to learn a way of expressing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Another way is another benefit. It's the fine motor skills. Activities such as drawing, painting, cutting, and sculpturing. Those activities are helping children with their fine motor skills and also their hand and eye coordination, because the children are holding something they're trying to cut. They need to train their eyes as well to how to use the scissors with their hands to cut something that they would like to use in their art. Art also stimulates their cognitive development, where children, it encourages them to observe and to analyze and to explore the world around them. It promotes as well the critical thinking and the visual skills that they're having, because you're promoting like art. Let's take the famous artists that they're around. Children are going to see, and they're going to get inspired from them. And then they're going to think, how can I make, let's say, for example, the sunflowers from Van Gogh? How can I do it myself? Then you're putting the critical thinking, and then they start thinking ways of being creative. Another benefit that is a huge thing about art is the emotional development. So art allows children to explore and process their emotions in a very safe and supportive environment. No one can come and tell them that your art is not nice or it doesn't say anything to you, because we don't care, actually. For the children, the only thing that they should care about, and this is what I'm trying to teach them as a teacher, is that they should actually sit down and do their the paintings, the drawings, and it only has to make sense to them.
Yeah, and I think then that also increases their confidence. So as you said, if yes, it doesn't have to make sense to anyone else, it just has to make sense to them. And then whatever the outcome, it is amazing, because that's their creation. That increases their confidence, that there's no right or wrong when it comes to art.
Yeah, the social skills, as we were, as you mentioned before, the art activities often involve collaboration and communication, whether it's for sharing materials or discussing their ideas. This is something that they're going to work together as a group or as individuals to get their masterpiece done. Another thing that is really important is the cultural appreciation. In our school, we have lots of cultures, and we celebrate all cultures. And this is something really amazing, because diversity is something that is a unity for everyone. People are learning how people are so different from each other, and art sometimes plays an important role on this. Some movements that we're introducing to children, or some exposure to various forms of art that includes children to different cultures, traditions, and perspectives of the world, it can promote the appreciation of diversity. I don't think many people know that there is that long a list of how art can benefit in somebody's life. I wanted, though, to ask you about a specific one, because I get asked this question quite a lot when I was a teacher, or now when I meet parents a lot, and it's quite a specific question. So you mentioned about how children, which I think is one of the main ones that you've placed emphasis on, about the expressing emotions. One thing I get told a lot is, a parent will say to me, my child likes black. They like dark colors. They only want to color with black. Or they'll say when they draw really hard and they draw really aggressive. Is this something that you feel says something about their emotion? Should parents be worrying? Should educators be worrying if a child is only choosing black? Should they be concerned how a child is holding a pencil and drawing aggressively? Is it something that you feel should be paid attention to, or is it simply just their preference and the stage in their development? I can see both sides, because on one hand, we have a child that only likes black and likes coloring very aggressively, which for me, it says that this child is maybe going through a stressful period or lots of transitions in their life, and they want to find a way to calm themselves. So actually, this is one activity that parents can do with their children when they are coloring. I've seen it a lot as well when when children are coloring, and they say, don't make this scribbling so hard. But for that child, making that scribble so hard, like you can really see vivid color of black, it took out all his frustration, and now he's feeling peacefully inside. Moving on to, I wanted to kind of cover two areas today. I wanted to
with this episode, I wanted to help educators. I wanted educators to learn something from this, but I also wanted parents to learn something from this. And for the educators, I wanted us to talk a little bit about how art and creativity can be integrated into all areas of the curriculum, which you did mention this at the beginning. And this is what we do, you know, with our Rising Artist program, where we teach our educators and our children that, and our parents, that creativity and art can be placed in any area of the curriculum, whether, as you said, literacy, numeracy, or whatever. So how do you integrate creativity within the subjects of the early years education?
So, for example, for understanding of the world, I would take this part of our curriculum. A child to be able to come and understand what creativity is, what an art exhibition is, what an artist does. Actually, we need to teach children these simple steps first, like what is the job of an artist? And what is an art exhibition? Where do they do the exhibition? What does an exhibition mean? What's happening there? It's like we're going there and we're sitting there and we're reading something or we're seeing something. So we need to actually, for example, in class, I would have implemented pictures of famous artists to create our own gallery for them to go and see. Let's say this is Van Gogh, this is Picasso, and even more modern artists. And then have them there for them to have a look and see, because for them it's very important to observe. If they're going to observe all these things that we are offering them in their environment, they're going to come back, and then when he's going to, or she's going to sit down and make a drawing, maybe they will say, look, Mrs. Helen, I did something that represents this painting, and it's going to be their understanding of art.
Do you have, so art is a very good, I feel, especially when I was in the classroom as a teacher, I felt that art was a really good cross-curricular component. So you could place it into any area of the curriculum. You could make numeracy an art lesson, and instead of a worksheet, sitting down and doing a worksheet, you can do some stamping with some branch brushes or something like this. Can you share?
Because what is more fun, Mrs. Katerina, if we're not making stamps with shapes?
Yeah. So can you share some successful cross-curricular projects that you've done to emphasize creativity?
Yes. I would say that we use different famous artists, for example, because for them to explore different movements, I like them to know the artists that created all these movements, they created all these techniques, and then take from there, take the inspiration that they're giving us and then put it in something new. For example, during literacy, we are going to take colors, different colors from pointillism, from George Seurat, and then we're going to use cotton sticks and we're going to trace our name. We're going to mix colors where we're going to recap our colors and what other colors do we get from mixing colors. And then we're going to, it's a very fun way of tracing our name and learning our letters.
You once also used, I saw you do once, I walked into supposedly a numeracy lesson and you were doing circles and you were doing, and I said, what are you doing? And you said, we're doing Kandinsky circles. And I realized this is numeracy. This is numeracy. Yes. You're doing, and it was 2-year-olds. and it was 2-year-olds, and it was so beautiful because it just makes it so much more special when you can apply it to something realistic, and you can apply it to something creative and more special than simply, you know, let's find the circles on a worksheet.
It was a very nice thing because we were doing teaching both things. We were teaching the shape of a circle, and then we were teaching big and small. So it was so much fun for them, and they were getting all this vocabulary without them knowing through the activities that we were having.
Yeah. Another thing that I learned. So when I was in the classroom, as I said at the beginning, I'm not an artistic person. I can't do what you do. As much as I'd love to, and as much as I try, I can't. And one thing that I loved was process art, because it took the pressure off my inability to create something, you know, that looked what would be conventionally a beautiful piece of art. But I think it also it does apply to what you said at the beginning, where the child is able to produce whatever is theirs, and it doesn't have to be exactly how somebody else says it has to be. It can be exactly what they have done, and it's beautiful. And I think it's a very underestimated process of art. And it's not something I often see teachers do, because I think what teachers typically learn is, let's make a duck face, and let's make an elephant, and let's make this. And there's this very set in the ways conventional pieces of art. And I don't see, over the years that I've been a teacher, it's not something that's done very often. There's the process art. I think it's something that teachers should get into and should enjoy. So for the people who don't know what process art is, do you want to explain a little bit about, give some examples of what that is and how it can be done?
Process art is equal to sensory art. So where children are stimulate their senses, including sight, touch, hearing, smell, and sometimes taste. We don't use that with paints, but it can be like if you're doing natural paints from yogurt or any other edible material. This type of art is particularly beneficial for young children because it allows them to explore and experience the world through their senses. So it's not going to be something that is process over product. So it's they're doing that while engaging in creative expressions. So there are some key aspects that are and benefits for sensory arts, like the multisensory engagement, because sensory art often involves a variety of materials, textures, and colors, and it provides children with rich sensory experiences. For example, finger painting that we did, the one that you came and saw in our classroom, allows children to feel the texture of the paint. They see the colors, how they blend and mix, and then they hear then they can feel the sound of their fingers when they're moving across the paper. Also, it stimulates the creativity because it's something that is not said. You can use your fingers in paint, and that's okay, because most people think that it's going to get messy and everything is going to be everywhere, and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to get messy. It's okay for them to stimulate their brain and to engage in sensory art, which they're going to. It's going to encourage them to explore and experiment with different materials and techniques. in their own way. They're going to be free to use those materials and their imagination also. And there's some activities like these that they regulating their emotions as well. So I would say that is an emotional regulation, where the sensory art provides a calming and therapeutic outlet for children to express and relieve the stress and the anxiety of the modern world, because everything is going on so fast, and like painting takes them into this calm era where they calm down while they're painting or drawing, and it provides them with the self exploration and emotional exploration as well.
One of my favorite aspects about process art is the fact that, so I'm a mum of a child who needs to move to learn, and there is this typical image of when you're being artistic, when you're being creative, you're sitting and you're painting and you're doing something calm in this quiet space. And a lot of the time that's what it is. And a lot of artists, that's how they work. But through process art, there's also, you know, one of my favorite activities that I used to do when I was in the class, or that I used to do with my older son who has to move, is the dancing, putting music on and dancing and jumping, and you're painting at the same time. And you've told me there's an artist, I don't know the name, there's an artist who does this, and you did something inspired. You also did something in class inspired by this artist, and they did the same thing.
Yes, Jackson Pollock.
That's it, Jackson Pollock. And this method allows for different learning styles. So you don't have to, art isn't just for the child who can sit and concentrate and in a quiet space. It can also be for the child to move. And as you said before, be free. So that is one of my favorite things about process art. The other thing that I learned from you quite recently, actually, was when I was in the classroom, I avoided giving the children something that they would have to copy. So, for example, this is an elephant mask. You have to make the elephant. I would avoid it because I didn't like the concept of copy this and this is how it has to look and the project has to look like this at the end. I wasn't a fan of that. And you said to me quite recently, you said, no, but they also have to learn to do that. They also have to learn to see something and copy it, and like still life. But exactly. Where I think the line gets crossed, which I think is important for educators and parents to know, is yes, we should introduce them, as you said, to the idea of being able to copy a still life, let's call it, but we shouldn't touch it. So
yes,
as it is.
Yes, because for them it makes sense that an elephant trunk is on elephant's forehead, and then the eyes are down where the chin is, and it makes sense to them.
Yeah. So that's what was one of the things that I think does get mixed up when it comes to creativity, that it's as the child has made it, it should be left, which is one of the first things you said. One of the first things you said about that is what they've made, and they should know that that's okay, and it makes sense to them at that time. At 2 years old, it makes sense to them that the eyes are on the chin, and then at 5 years old, it will make sense to them that the eyes are actually here. So the
important thing is that both of them are important. So having them to have their expressing themselves and having sensory art and blending the colors and touching and having all these uses of fine motor skills and senses and everything else is equally important to for them to sit down and, let's say, I want to make a cat. How can I make a cat? So in those early stages, you show them ways of doing it. For example, how they're going to use a scissor to cut a round shape. Or, for example, this is a picture of the cat. Cat has whiskers. So they're going to put their creative thinking and say, what can we use to make whiskers? And then we're going to go and find what we can make. And then we're going to test our ideas. So they're both equally important for them to develop. For them to start developing their ideas and developing their skills, they need to know both ways. And then when they learn and they go on a stage where they know how to use, let's say, the art tools, and then they know how to make a cat, then they can take paint with their fingers and draw a cat on the canvas without an adult telling them how to do it or what they can use or make all these questions, because the child already will have this creative thinking that, okay, I'm going to do it with paint, I'm going to stick this for this and this, and it's going to be their masterpiece.
So I really enjoyed talking about this topic. I didn't actually. I learned a lot about art in education from you since meeting you many years ago, and I learned a lot from you, and I think anyone listening to you speak about art, it's quite inspiring how passionate you are about it, how passionate you are about creativity in the early years, and so much so that you are the inspiration of the Rising Artists. The Rising Artists program at our school. Yes. And the exhibition that we do. You are the exhibition that we do at our school, which is taking place. We're doing next month. We're doing the Rising Artists program where creativity is integrated into every area of the curriculum across all age groups. And the Rising Artists exhibition is on the 20th of April.
20th
of April. And the theme this year, what's the theme of the exhibition?
It's going to be Color Matters, because for us early years matters. So we're going to bring colors and how children interact with colors, and we're going to present the way that they are thinking and the way they're going to implement it on their paintings. And this is what we are going to be focusing this year on our exhibition.
I love this program. I love the exhibition, and I love the theme this year. So yes, to everyone who's listening, the 20th of April, Roots Preschool will be the Rising Artists exhibition. From 4 to 5,
4 to 7. Yes,
4 till 7 in the afternoon. There's the auction as there was last year. I absolutely loved it last year, and I can't wait for this year. Yeah, I want to thank you for taking the time to come and have a chat, and I hope you are able to inspire as much those listening as much as you've inspired me over the years with this subject, and that's why I really wanted to have a chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a great opportunity where actually parents can get into the educator's life and see how much passion and how much efforts we are putting in, not only to teach children about, let's say, ABCs, but also about their social skills, about how to regulate their emotions, how to move on in their adulthood life.
Yeah. So I thank you to everyone listening. Thank you, Helen. And
thank you.
Until next time, we will say bye-bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.